bit over a year ago, the little Android console that made over $8 million on Kickstarter, Ouya, was unleashed onto the world. But where does it stand now? Welcome to Ouya 1 year on. With the open Android platform, Ouya was promising a new era in game development. One that hasn't really panned out for them. Oh, don't get me wrong, there are some really good games in the system. Starting with... It'll Do. A game that takes a lot of cues from the 2D Zelda games. But you play as a girl by the name of Dew, and her drunk sidekick, Tipsy, as you crash on an island and proceed to steal everything. It's made clear that It'll Do isn't a hero. She hasn't been chosen, and she isn't here to save anyone. She is just here to cause chaos. The puzzles aren't as well crafted as the master, but likes to point out some of the tropes and have a good laugh. My only real complaint is that it's criminally short, clocking in at about 2 to 3 hours. Freedom Fall. A simple platformer about a young prisoner escaping a tower full of spikes and traps built by a clearly psychotic little girl. The jumping and timing feel really good and almost anything is reachable with enough wall jumping. Towerfall. One of the standout games on the Ouya and was once the system's killer app, if you will. While many designed as a multiplayer free-for-all with arrows, you can have fun with the solo trials, which have you shooting targets in a certain amount of time. Showergun, another standout title for Ouya, a third-person shooter that actually looks and runs fairly well in the system. I wouldn't call the graphics Unreal 3 quality, but it is a fun, yet mindless shooter. Like all of them nowadays. Shadowblade, a platformer where you play as a ninja. The platforming is top-notch, and the killing is even better. But the problem with all these games is that they're all available on other systems. As well as being available in the PC or through the Apple Play Store, games like It'll Do and Towerfall are getting releases on the Wii U and PS4 respectively. But the system does have some exclusives to boast about. Games like, airtight game s4e4. Playing as funk warrior Magnus Jones, he works his way back up to Club Valhalla. s4e4 is a 2.5D beat-em-up with randomly generating levels. But what stands out is the beat mechanic. Performing combos and blocking require buttons being pushed at a particular beat. Overall, a fairly interesting title. Exclusives. Oh, yeah, Clark! Playing as a Wall-E wannabe on a distant planet, this block-moving puzzle platformer is actually quite fun despite some controller issues. And keeping with the Wall-E feel, it seems our protagonist falls in love with a pink nuclear missile and surrounded by drunk slacking robots. What else? Monocle Man? Or Amazing Frog? No. 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 No! No! I'm done! You hear me? Done! No! Shut up! I'm done! Alright. Jesus. God damn it. Let me just get the... Yeah, I'm doing it, alright? It should be pointed out that Double Fine's Kickstarter project, Broken Age, is coming to Ouya as a console exclusive. Eventually. Oh! And speaking of Kickstarter, remember this in the Ouya pitch video?
Full store of games, all free to play. Minecraft is going to be on it.
Yeah, well, that never happened. Despite Mrs. Ehrman's proclamation in the pitch, Mojang never really confirmed Minecraft Ouya. And with its release on other more profitable systems, it doesn't seem likely we will get it. But we did get XBMC. But just like Minecraft, there are better options on other systems. Which leads us probably to the best games on the Ouya, thanks to our good old friends, emulation. It's been a year and still the best reason to buy an Ouya is its ability to play a giant range of emulators. The app I've been getting the most use out of lately is EPSXE to play Symphony of the Night and the original Silent Hill. The games perform and look fairly good, despite being between 15 and 20 years old. But there is one emulator that came out recently that no one thought was possible. Despite being only in beta, Dreamcast emulator Recast is already performing amazingly. Games like Skies of Arcadia, Code Veronica, Sonic Adventure, and, yes, Shenmue are all in a playable state. Wish I could say the same thing about the Saturn. It's been about a year since the Ouya, and while the choice and quality of games has been varying, that doesn't ignore the biggest issue for me personally, as a game reviewer. You may be wondering why the footage in this review looks kind of, well, shit. Well, that's because the Ouya, a console that was supposed to be all about freedom, has HDCP enabled. Just like the PS3 and 4. Because of this, my Ava Media has been unable to record footage from this device, and every attempt to do something about it has proved fruitless. Ouya, most of your developers don't have the budget to properly advertise. If you won't even let them record gameplay from your system, how the hell are they going to promote them? So, what I've had to do is use the only device I can, an HDMI to composite converter. But because my capture device only accepts components, I had to loop it through a DVD recorder and out through component. But remember in my original review how I said, the Ouya and all the other similar consoles that will no doubt be in development soon? Well, not surprisingly, that has become very, very true. Starting with another Kickstarter console, GameStick. GameStick is just that, an HDMI stick that runs Android. So, while technically the same kind of device as an Ouya with its own interface and collection of games, the CPU is only dual-core, while on the Ouya, it's a quad-core. As for the price, a new one costs more than the Ouya on Amazon. But that's not as bad as this one. Meet the Mad Catz Mojo. Yes, that Mad Catz made their own Android console, costing $150 more than the Ouya originally. Now, you'd think a system with that kind of price tag would have some great power behind it. Well, you'd be wrong. Because unlike the Ouya or even GameStick, Mojo doesn't even have its own interface or game library. Just a stock Android interface and access to the Google Play Store. And there is the biggest issue, as right out of the box, app incompatibility with the controller is huge. At least with the Ouya store, the games you get will work with the system. I mean, seriously, I knew you were flimsy, Mad Cats, but my God! However, the microconsole scene isn't as bleak as you may think, as there is one that may help to turn it around. If it ever gets out of Japan. And that is the PS Vita TV. It's exactly what the name says. This tiny little device plays your Vita cartridges using a PlayStation controller. And with the PS4's touch controls, you can replicate the Vita's touch controls. However, unlike the handheld, the Vita TV is region locked. Also, it's been rumored that Amazon and Google are looking to step into the microconsole scene. And on April 2nd, because no one would believe them the day before, Amazon stepped in with the Fire TV, complete with its own game controller, twice the RAM of the Ouya, and an Adreno 320 GPU, which, in benchmark tests, blew the Ouya's Tegra 3 out of the water. Even so though, microconsoles have a long way to go before they can match it with the big boys. Currently, Ouya have launched the Ouya Everywhere initiative, and one of its first actions is bringing the Ouya OS to Mojo. That's how bad the Mojo is. The Ouya had to come to save it. Plus, they are phasing out the free-to-play requirement that needed games to either have a demo or use the free-to-play model. And Julie has confirmed that, like Android phones, a new model Ouya will be out soon. The thing is, a device like the Ouya would have been a big deal like 3 or 4 years ago. However, the indie scene that it was trying to pitch to has already been taken. Take their original pitch again.
I've been a part of the game industry for a really long time. In the early days of gaming, you could take your Apple IIe, write your own programming, and take your game to market.
The console business as it is today is completely closed to the independent developer.
The process overhead for console development is really just too much for us.
Well, that's no longer the case. Nowadays, the major consoles are more open than ever to indie developers. The Wii U has over 200 indie games set for release, and its dev kits have a free license of the Unity engine. Not to mention, the PS4 is also being incredibly indie-friendly. But to be fair, it could be said that the Ouya and Kickstarter were the ones who started opening the indie floodgates, and Nintendo and Sony are just riding the waves. Do I see the Ouya going away anytime soon? No, but I do believe that another micro-console brand will arrive that eventually draw attention away. Like the Amazon Fire TV. I wonder if they'll ship to Australia.